the election. And Governor, welcome back to Fox News Sunday, and congratulations, sir.
Thank you, Chris. It's great to be back, and couldn't be more honored and humbled to have the opportunity to serve with President-elect Donald Trump and to see the energy that he's brought, the leadership that he's brought to this effort since literally hours after the election was called has been truly inspiring.
As we just reported, the president-elect met with a wide range of people yesterday, everyone from Mitt Romney to Michelle Rhee. But so far, the people that he has appointed have all been loyalists and, frankly, all white men. My question, sir, is, will we see a diversity of opinion in the Trump administration? And, frankly, will we see a diversity of gender and race?
Well, clearly, the president-elect is a man who knows his mind. He knows where he wants to take this country. He laid out an agenda to make America great again, to have America standing tall in the world, to revive the American economy, and he's going to surround himself with men and women from diverse backgrounds who are going to help him move that agenda forward. But I have to tell you, to be alongside him in these meetings, to be here at Trump National yesterday, to see men and women coming through with extraordinary backgrounds, another round of those today. We have just been working at his direction headlong to bring together people from all across this country who will help him on day one to begin to move that agenda to really result in a stronger and more prosperous America. And I couldn't be more honored to be a part of it, Chris.
Well, let me see if I can get you to make some news, sir. Someone close to the transition tells me that the meeting with Mitt Romney yesterday actually went better than expected, given their history with each other, and that he's now a contender for Secretary of State, although Rudy Giuliani may well be the front runner still, and that retired General James Mattis is, quote, likely for Secretary of Defense. And I want to put up a tweet that Donald Trump sent out this morning. General James Mad Dog Mattis, who is being considered for Secretary of Defense, was very impressive yesterday, a true general's general. Sounds like he's got the job, sir. Well, stay tuned as the president-elect works through all of those decisions. I can tell you that they'll be coming forward. I think you said it at the top of the show, though. It's while some in the national media were wringing their hands early this week, we've been working from literally hours after the election was called to move this transition forward. I'm honored to be serving as the chair of it, and to have someone like General Mattis to sit before us yesterday, someone with a legendary military career, and to be able to talk to him about the challenges facing America and our national security. And I can tell you that the president-elect was very grateful that Governor Mitt Romney came in. They had a good meeting. It was a warm and a substantive exchange, and I know he's under active consideration to be the Secretary of State of the United States, along with some other very distinguished Americans. Just one quick thing on Romney. Was there any talk about the terrible things they said about each other? Well, we spent about an hour together with the team, the president-elect and I, on one side of the table, and some on the team on the other side with Governor Romney, and we talked about a lot of substantive issues. They did have some private time together, and you can ask either one of them what they talked about. But look, these are two people that earned their party's nomination. One was successful and won a mandate from the American people earlier this month to make America great again. Another one fought hard to do that 4 years ago, and I can just report to you that it was a cordial meeting, but more importantly to the American people, it was a very substantive conversation. I know the president-elect was grateful that Mitt Romney came here to Trump National and spent some time and is willing to be considered for this important role at such an important time in the life of our nation. Well, let's talk about your role, because the president-elect has made you the head of the transition. You seem, from your visits, to be his main link to Congress. Some are comparing you to Dick Cheney, who played a big role in introducing another newcomer to Washington back in 2000, George W. Bush. What do you think of the Cheney comparison? Well, I have high regard for the service that Vice President Cheney provided to the United States, but the person that will define my role is the president-elect of the United States of America. And what has he said about that role?
I mean, some people have said that
Well,
he's going to be the CEO and you're going to be the COO, the Chief Operating Officer.
Well, let me be very clear. President-elect Donald Trump, when he becomes President, Donald Trump on January 20th will be the one leading the Trump administration, and I'll be providing a supporting role. But I do think the President-elect's has a great appreciation for my relationships with members of Congress. He and I both went to Capitol Hill last week and sat down with the leaders of the House and the Senate. You know, because part of this transition, Chris, is not just surrounding the President-elect with men and women from whom he can choose the personnel that will people in administration, but we're also laying out an aggressive policy agenda, working with leaders, frankly, in both chambers and in both political parties. I went back to Capitol Hill this week and not only met with Leader McConnell and Speaker Ryan, but I also was grateful to have the opportunity to sit down with Leader Pelosi and Leader Schumer. We had a substantive conversation. We're working with the majorities in the House and Senate to move forward an aggressive agenda. Decisions have been made that by the President-elect that he wants to focus out of the gate on repealing Obamacare and beginning the process of replacing Obamacare with the kind of free market solutions that he campaigned on. From there, we'll work on issues ranging from ending illegal immigration, reviving our economy through tax reform, rebuilding the military, restoring the infrastructure of this country. But I do hope to continue to play a supportive role to take President-elect Donald Trump's agenda to Capitol Hill and work with leaders, frankly, in both political parties to move the country forward and make America great again.
Well, let me ask you about one potential flashpoint. We interviewed Senate Democratic Leader Schumer on Friday. He's going to be in our next segment. And he said that there's going to be a, quote, very thorough vetting of Donald Trump's choice for Attorney General. That's Senator Jeff Sessions. Back in 1986, looking at the record, Sessions was rejected by the Senate as a federal judge because of troubling actions and statements on race. And as a senator, Sessions supported rolling back the Voting Rights Act and voted against laws to protect gays and guarantee equal pay for women. The question is, are you prepared to fight Democrats to make Sessions the nation's chief law enforcement officer?
I think everyone who knows Senator Jeff Sessions knows that he's going to be an outstanding Attorney General. He is a man of integrity. He stood shoulder to shoulder with our President-elect through this campaign, championing not only the rule of law, but confronting the scourge of illegal immigration. And for many Americans, this is a very anxious time relative to the Justice Department, and they know that Jeff Sessions will restore integrity there. What
about that record when it comes to race and gays and women?
Yeah. Well, I'm very confident that in the course of the confirmation hearings that his record in its totality will come out. This is a man who prosecuted the KKK in his own home state. This is someone who demonstrated personal courage, and I think you're going to see an outpouring of support from diverse voices, including the African American community in his home state and across the country. I'm very confident Senator Jeff Sessions will be the next Attorney General of the United States.
During the campaign, Donald Trump attacked Hillary Clinton for blurring the lines with the Clinton Foundation. Here's what he said.
It is impossible to figure out where the Clinton Foundation ends and the State Department begins. It is now abundantly clear that the Clintons set up a business to profit from public office.
But, Governor, now there's heavy criticism from all sides about Donald Trump's intention to turn over his real estate empire to his children. And the argument is that any company, any foreign government that wants to curry favor with the president will just make a deal with the Trump organization. In fact, one top Republican said to me, this could be the Clinton Foundation on steroids. How do you deal with that?
Well, I'm very confident working with the best legal minds in the country that the President-elect and his family will create the proper separation from his business as he goes forward. But look, I mean, one of the reasons why Donald Trump just won a mandate from the American people, winning states that Republicans hadn't won for a generation, is because he brought that business background. He didn't come out of a long political career. He came out of a career building things, creating things, creating
sir,
jobs.
I understand.
I'm
that.
very confident. He's very confident that we'll be able to create the proper separation.
But it's not just a legal question.
And I will tell you that he's completely focused on the people's business.
If I may just ask a question, sir, briefly, if his kids are running the business, and if we're talking about buildings here, if he doesn't divest himself of the business, a lot of people are saying turn it into cash, he's going to know who the kids are doing business with. In fact, there was just a meeting in the last few days with some of his business partners from India. Doesn't that create a tremendous danger of a conflict of interest?
Well, I can tell you, in a recent interview after the election, the president-elect summed up his view of his interest in his business life with 2 words. He said, "Who cares?" And I can tell you, sitting shoulder to shoulder with him through these interviews, watching him talk to world leaders on the phone one after another from hours after the election, the president-elect of the United States, Donald Trump, is completely focused on the people's business. And I promise you, and I can assure the public that they'll have the proper separation from their business enterprise. You know, you've met all of his kids. They are extraordinary men and women, fully capable of leading that enterprise, and I know he's going to lead America with 110% of his focus.
Finally, I've got about a minute left, and I got to ask you about the subject everybody is talking about today. You know what it is, and that is the fact that you went to see the Broadway musical Hamilton on Friday night. And afterwards, the cast addressed you as you were walking out of the theater about their concerns as to whether Mr. Trump will protect diversity in our nation. Here he is.
We truly hope that this show has inspired you to uphold our American values and to work on behalf of all of us. All of us.
Now, Saturday morning, Mr. Trump tweeted this: "The cast of Hamilton was very rude last night to a very good man, Mike Pence, apologized," and he tweeted about it again at 6:23 this morning. Governor, what did you think of the cast comments, and did you consider it rude?
Well, first off, my daughter and I and her cousins really enjoyed the show. Hamilton is just an incredible production, and incredibly talented people, and it was a real joy to be there. And you know, when we arrived, we heard a few boos and we heard some cheers, and I nudged my kids and reminded them that's what freedom sounds like. And but at the end, I did hear what was said from the stage, and I can tell you, I wasn't offended by what was said. I'll leave to others whether that was the appropriate venue to say it, but I do want to say that the basic element, the center of that message is one that I want to address, and that is I know this is a very disappointing time for people that did not see their candidate win in this national election. I know this is a very anxious time for some people, and I just want to reassure people that what President-elect Donald Trump said on election night, he absolutely meant from the bottom of his heart. He is preparing to be the president of all of the people of the United States of America. And to watch him bringing together people of diverse views, bringing together people that differed with him strongly, seeing him talk to leaders around the world, I just want to reassure every American that in the days ahead, I'm very confident that they're going to see President-elect Donald Trump be a president for all of the people, and we embrace that principle, and we're going to work hard to make that principle every day that we serve.
And just to button Hamilton Gate up, do you want or expect an apology?
Well, as I said, I would leave that to others, whether that was the appropriate venue for